You can turn around.
Oh my God, that's a big horse.
So, what we're going to do today, we're going to introduce a couple of the horses and talk about horses, horse behavior, horse safety, and then we're going to pull out a horse and do brushing, grooming, everything that it takes to get a horse ready for a ride. And then I'm going to take you into the riding arena and give you a walk on the horse so you can see what it feels like.
Okay.
Okay?
Are you excited?
Yeah.
The first horse we're going to meet is Rubia. And you guys can stand right here so you can see better. So I'm going to talk about her a little bit. Whenever we approach a horse or walk up to a horse, we're always going to walk towards their shoulder area, which is right here. This is very similar to a dog collar. It's called a halter. So, I forgot my lead rope. Where's my lead rope? Where's my lead rope? Is it tied over there? Sometimes they hide from me. Black, so it blends in. Oh, there it is. All right, so this is like a leash. This is called our lead rope, which gets fastened right under here. Okay, so when I go up to my horse, if my horse was out in the field, some horses, when they see this coming, they'll walk away from you or take off running because they're like, uh-oh, I'm going to get ridden. Yeah. So we always say, put the rope around the neck so that they can't get away from you when you go to put this on. Because some horses, you go to put it on and they'll just jart off that way. So this is going to go over her muzzle. Her nose is called her muzzle. Come right behind her ears. And we clip it right here on the side. So, I'm going to let her munch a little bit while we talk about her, but I want you to see where her eyes are set. The horse's eyes are on the sides of the head, okay? So that means horses can't see directly in front of them, and they can't see directly behind them. That's why we say don't walk behind the horse. Now, when I say in front, I'm not talking about right here. She can see me. This is in front. So sometimes kids want to come and reach right here first. A lot of horses are like, whoa, because they see your body, but they don't see that little hand coming up, and they're like, whoa. Right, so this is a little bit of a sensitive area. You can see they have these little whiskers here. Those are organs. Those are their feelers. So when they're down grazing grass, they can sense if snakes are around or whatever just by that. So that's just one important thing. Another thing we like to talk about is the height of the horse. I heard you say, whoa, she's big. So she is actually very small for a horse. So a long time ago, they didn't have rulers and tape measures. So they had to measure horses in hands. They still measure horses in hands, but we do have measuring sticks and measuring tapes that are marked in hands. So when you measure the height of a horse, we measure from the back of the hoof, and it's a straight line that comes right up here to the withers. Do you see her skin shaking? She thought that was a fly landing on her. So that's what now that she knows I'm touching her, she's not going to do it. No. That's Peyton, by the way. Peyton is 19, so he is super duper old. He loves attention. He is the sweetest cat I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
But Rubia, if we measure her from her hoof to her withers right here, she is 14.3 hands. So 4 inches in each hand. Okay. If she was 14.2 hands, right here, she'd be considered a large pony. So if they're 14.2 hands and smaller, they're ponies. If they're 14.3 hands and larger, they're considered a horse.
Look at the bunny. Look at the
So, I'm going to bring her out so you guys can see her a tad bit better.
All
and then
right.
we're going to feed her some treats. So, yeah, come on this side right here. I'm going to walk her right up here. She probably will try to go right back in her stall to get hay.
Ooh, that's a big head.
So, I like
big
to say
head.
too, pull her out here where it's easier to see. She hasn't
Right.
been brushed yet. What color? If you saw this horse, what color would you say she is?
Tan?
Tan?
Yeah.
A lot of people say white, but in the wintertime, if you would have come, like, let me see, it was probably March, they still have their winter coat in it. Their winter coat gets this long. Hers comes in snow white.
Leave the camera on.
She looks like a white horse. When she sheds out to this tan color. So the tan color on a horse is called palomino. So you have light colored palominos, which is what Rubia is, and then golden, darker palominos, which is going to be, it's even darker than this right here.
Okay.
So when you look at the coloring, if you look at Rubia's nose or muzzle area, you can see pink skin here, and then the black or gray.
She got pink
So
on the
a
nose.
true white horse is going to have white hairs, and this pink skin is going to be underneath their entire body. If they have white hairs and the black or the gray skin, they're considered a gray horse. So sometimes your grays can look like they're white, sometimes your palominos can look white. So you have to sort of wait for them to get their spring coat in, then you know. And then of course, I would never have, the white horses are beautiful, but they get sunburned so easily. Like she doesn't get sunburned here because her head is always down, but you've got some horses that are completely white and they get sunburned, they develop cancers, melanoma, da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. Anyway, and Rubia, by the way, is, are you 8 yet? I don't know, I don't think she's 8 yet. So she's my first rescue horse that I've
Okay.
ever gotten. And what you see on her legs, those are called fly leggings.
Uh-huh.
So they just keep the flies from biting at their legs. If they don't have those on, one little fly, it lands on them, they stomp their hooves, and if they keep stomping, those hooves are gonna break and crack, which
Oh,
they can do
okay.
anyway. Let me get your treats.
Okay.
Might have to get some more. Might run out for anything. All right. Who wants to try to feed her a treat? Birthday boy?
Yes.
So we're gonna keep the hand flat just like that and keep your thumb close to the side. Okay, right here. There you
How does it
go.
feel?
You wanna try?
Yes.
Okay, flat hand. Keep his little fingers down a little bit.
You want to
She
try, pretty
drools
girl?
more than Angel does.
You gotta
All
keep your
right,
hands
keep it
straight.
right up here because remember she can't see, so she's using that muzzle to feel.
Yep.
And if y'all,
How'd it
well,
feel?
I always wipe
Great.
all my pants, but
Yeah,
I wear
just-
old
yeah, just
clothes
wipe all
out
your
here. I
pants,
got one more. Anybody?
Yeah,
Even
I-
break
yeah,
it.
let me
Here,
try.
we'll break it in
Let me
half.
try.
And then birthday boy can go again.
Yep.
Oh,
I got
oh,
another.
oh, wait a minute.
There you go. You want to try?
Yeah, sure.
Come here, girl. Believe it or not, even though carrots are healthy, they can't have too much of anything because it does turn to sugars. Sugar's not good. Come here, girl. You get one more before you go. So that's Miss
It is,
Rubia.
ain't it? Miss Rubia. You hear her name, pretty girl?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Miss
And
Rubia.
see, they like to, if you get sweaty or your hands are sweaty, horses like salt, so they will sit and lick and lick. So horses don't tend to bite unless they're having, sometimes they can have a bad day, but it's not going to be when you're feeding them that they bite you. It's going to be when you're working with them and
Right.
they get a little attitude.
Oh,
Or
okay.
if they're sore, if they were ridden hard and they end up sore, they'll let you know. They usually give a warning before they try to bite.
And they bite you
so
really hard.
They can't.
Or
I
do they
mean,
nibble?
even a little nip. I mean, like even if they go like this and bite down, it might not hurt. Like it might just be like, oh, and then you'd be like, oh my gosh, she left a big bruise. Like I said, it does not happen often, but it can happen.
It can't happen.
They're animals, so.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have had her for 3 years. She has never tried to bite, ever.
Wow.
Well, they lost the herd leader of the pasture, Cookie, and she and Cookie were very bonded.
Right.
We had to have her euthanized last July. And anyway, so that just left Angel and Rubia. Well, there's always a hierarchy. So it was Cookie, Rubia, then Angel.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course, she was stressed because of Cookie passing away. Then Angel, who has always been low man on the totem pole, said, you're not going to boss me around anymore. I'm in charge now. Because she's much older than her.
Oh, okay.
But Cookie has always been boss over her, so she's just been very submissive. Well, when Cookie passed, she's like, that's it. So she started going after her, which of course stressed her out. So she lost her best buddy, and then she's getting chased around by
By the
Angel
other one,
over there.
right.
And she developed ulcers, stress ulcers. So she was very painful in her stomach. So when I was doing some, I don't remember, I was putting her saddle on, okay? You have to be very careful. And I could tell she was irritated or upset, but had no idea she had ulcers. Well, that's like, I think she's got ulcers. Gave her ulcer treatment, and she's been fine ever since. So when you've got a horse that has never bit, she's been just as gentle as a giant, and something like that happens, you know there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
crazy. They can get have the same issues that we have.
Yes,
As
ma'am.
far as health issues. Okay, you've already got your halter on. So this is Angel, and Angel is 22 years old. So
Wow.
she still gets ridden. We got this horse for our daughter when our daughter was 3 and Angel was 2. So they have literally grown up together.
Wow.
And
22.
pull you out here.
Yep, 22.
So if I can get y'all to
Yeah,
stand on this side, let me put
Okay.
the stand on.
Okay.
So y'all can get some little bit of airflow.
And then how this thing come out? Look,
What's that?
I said the sun trying to come out.
Yeah, calm before the storm.
Right.
So whenever I lead a horse, you never want to have that rope dragging. You never want to wrap it around your hand. So we just put our extra in. And I'm not going to look at my horse like this. When you face a horse that's actually telling them to stop, so you don't want to send
okay.
mixed signals. So I'm
Okay.
just going to walk her out and
Yes,
turn
ma'am.
her around.
Do
So
they
I just- what's
do they
that?
lay down to sleep or do they stand
They
up to
do,
sleep?
yeah, and they typically will have one horse that is always standing, and then they'll take turns. So there's always at least one standing typically. You don't usually see every horse in the field laying down. You'll see all but one most of the time.
So they know which one they allow each other to sleep. The horses
Oh,
allow
yeah.
each other to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
How long
and
do they sleep
take
for?
turns standing guard, so to speak, for
Okay.
predators.
Okay.
So, um,
How long do they normally sleep?
you know, it's hard to say. And
Okay.
they can actually sleep standing up too. I mean, that is a thing. But their deepest sleep is when they're laying down.
Okay.
So most of the time, a horse is not going to lay down more than an hour at a time.
Okay.
So if you see one laying down and they're doing lots of rolling, now they'll get down on the grass and they'll roll if they get itchy or whatever,
Right.
and to scratch. But if you see one get up and down, rolling, kicking at their belly, that's a sign of pain, which is typically colic, which is the #1 cause of death in horses is colic. The second is an issue called founder, a horse that founders, which is what happened to Cookie. So
Oh, okay.
there's some, and that's, I could go into all that. That's like, basically she was like a diabetic horse. It affected the feet.
Yeah.
And that they call that founder. So they start with a lameness. If there's rotation in the bone, there's a bone inside this hoof that sits parallel.
Okay.
So when they have a high sugar content and their body can't regulate the sugar, it's called equine metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance. So the structure that holds the bone is called lamina. So sort of like tendons and ligaments hold things together for us. The
Okay.
lamina get inflamed and they break away. So there's no support for that bone. The bone that should sit parallel will start dropping and rotate and come out the hoof.
Okay. Wow.
And her body, because she was had a metabolic disease, which most horses will get if they live,
How long do
usually up
horses
to
normally
teens.
live?
The vet will work on some that are 30 and 40. So
Okay.
on average, I would probably say in their upper 20s.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
if they don't have any underlying conditions that pop up, which
Okay.
happens. So,
Yes, ma'am.
so when I tie my horse, this is called a tie ring, so we always tie them up before we groom them. They would say, turn this way. They would say, rule of thumb is to keep your rope from your fingertips to your shoulders for this portion. I usually leave it a little bit longer so she, if Rubia comes up there, they're not in each other's face. So when we knot it, we do what's called a quick release knot. You never knot it like you would your tennis shoe because horses are, let me ask you this. Have you learned about predator and prey animals in school yet?
I heard about different prey animals, but not these ones.
Okay, so do you know what a predator is?
You take a guess?
Yeah, take a guess. It's okay if you're wrong.
Is it
You
an
have
animal
one
that
on your
eats?
shirt. You forgot what you had on, don't you?
Lion?
So,
Is it animals that eat?
yes! Exactly. A predator is an animal that eats its prey. So, a horse is a prey animal. that means their brains think that they are going to get eaten. Okay?
What's their what's prey? Like, how are they eating their prey?
So they eat nothing but grass and
other
grains and
animals.
hay. So, but the way the horse thinks, they think things are always out to get them, to chase them, to eat them. So we have to do a lot of desensitizing. That means getting them used to quick movements, loud sounds, that kind of stuff. Now sometimes Ruby might do this. We call that a spook. They might spook in place because she's not quite as old as Angel. Like I said, Angel's been carrying people around and doing this since she was 2 years old.
Oh, okay.
Ruby, when I got her as a 4-year-old, she was completely unbroke. She had not really been trained. So she is phenomenal. She doesn't like it used to be, when they would spook, they try to take off. So if they get scared in here, they're going to back up as far as they can back up really fast. And if you knot it, it's going to get tighter and tighter. You can't pull it free. A horse that panics is going to rear up on their back legs. And a lot of times, they should always have on breakaway halters. So this should snap so they can get free so they don't hurt themselves. However, if they're strong enough and they are rearing up high enough, they can, when that breaks and releases, they can flip on their backs and get hurt. So that's why we always tie this quick release. So if she gets scared, I can let her go, she can back up, and usually for horses to calm them, we send them in circles, lunging, and get them listening to us and focused on us so they're not focused on a scary whatever's going on.
Okay.
She's not going to do anything silly like that. I just like to tell people what horses can do because
Right.
it has definitely happened out here with some people's horses.
Right.
Okay, so you can see she looks pretty clean, but you can still see, come up this way so you can feel. So this is soft and clean. You can feel right here.
Come on, pretty good.
And if you reach up right in here, you can feel how that's crusty and hard. Do you feel the difference in her hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So, even though she might look clean, we would never put our saddle pad on and saddle
Daddy.
without brushing her off first.
Okay.
Because if you do, that dirt is going to rub as you ride. It's going to rub into her skin and they can get saddle sores. And then you can't ride them because they have saddle sores that have to scab up and blister. It's just gross.
It's a lot. Okay.
So, we have 3 different grooming tools we use. So I'm going to explain those to you. So what I do is I'll do one side and show you exactly how it's done, and then you and everybody else can help do the other side. So let me get out a couple of these grooming tools first.
Mom, this is fun.
It's fun. You like that?
Yeah.
Did it make you happy?
Here's a small hand brush.
It made me happy
All right, let me get a
good.
couple more of these. Over here. All right. So I have several. So we have everybody to help. 2, 3, 3. Okay. So my first brush is called the curry comb or curry brush. I like to use this side. This is also a curry comb. This is a smaller one for smaller hands. This is what originally came out. And they have bigger ones for bigger people. But I like these better because I think they get down to the skin better and they're not as hard. Feel that they have the nice soft little bristles.
Feel the difference in the brush?
Yeah.
So that just bends. If you press on it, it's easier on their body. It's more like a massage. And,
Okay. And this is the different one.
and this is really good for the bottoms of their legs. This one for their legs and all. Then we're going to go into the hard brush or the body brush, and then these are my soft brushes up here. So that's the last brush. So this is what's going to take us the longest to do. These are fairly quickly. So I'm going to show you. When you look at the horse, when you start brushing, you don't just want to dive in. Like I said, sometimes they can look like they're awake, but they doze off. Sort of like if you're sitting in school one day, your teacher might be talking, and you're like looking at her, but you're not really paying attention. That's what horses can do, okay? So we're always going to come back to the shoulder area and then work our way up so our horse knows where we are. You should talk to him and let him know you're coming. So I divide my horse into thirds. Do you know what thirds are? 1/3
Oh, that's fractions. That's fractions.
means
She
3
said
parts.
you said fractions too.
What is?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
She said it's fractions.
Yeah. So 3 parts is all it means. So here's my first, so 1/3. My middle is 2/3. And then my last area is 3/3. And once we do it all, that's our whole horse. So 3/3 means 1.
You hear that,
One
Boo?
whole.
Yes.
All
And
right.
you know, I used the measurement when I did measurement before.
There you go. So we're gonna always start at the top. Wherever you start working on a horse, you start at the top. And you can see she's got a little bit of dirt where she rolled right there.
Okay.
And you wanna put a little bit of pressure behind it. The only place that I'm not gonna rub quite as hard is under the belly area, and I'll show you. So you just work top to bottom. You don't have to worry about getting off all that dirt. That's what the next 2 brushes are for. So this one, the concept is to get down to the skin and bring everything to the surface. When you get to the leg, a lot of times I'm just gonna sort of rub down, and then I'll lift these up and do the outside, the front, and then the inside. When I finish, I'll usually tap it on the ground, get out my dirt, and I'll go to the next section. So again, you guys remember, you want to feel that one more time before I get there?
Yes.
So feel up there. All right. And then this is what this is great for. So that is basically dried sweat from yesterday. We sponge them off, but it gets dry and crusty, so you can sort of see there. And then, when you feel it, it's a little bit softer. All right.
Okay.
And another area we want to get good is down under here.
It is
So
soft.
if you put your hand under here and feel this, come right there. You feel how that feels dirty?
Yeah.
So that's where a piece of equipment called the cinch goes. So that's why that feels icky. So we're gonna brush under here, just like that. Now, the sensitive part, let me move back this way some. So some horses, if you press too hard right here, they're gonna let you know if they are feeling any discomfort or any little bit of pain.
How do
Their
they let you
bladders,
know?
huh?
How do they let you know?
How do they let you know? That is a great question. So the bladder actually sits right behind here. So sometimes if they have a full bladder and you push on them, they might take their ears. So right now her ears are relaxed and she's listening because they're sort of slightly back, but not really. If they are in pain or discomfort and you're pushing too hard, those ears are going to come back like this. Sometimes they'll shake their head. Sometimes too, if you're pressing too hard, they'll like do a tail swish. But you have to know, because they'll swish their tail too if they get a fly on them.
Yeah.
So you have to know, okay, is she being ugly or is she have a fly around her? And the longer you own a horse, you're going to know immediately.
Yeah.
So you don't stand directly behind them. You stand as close as you just gotten,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, well, that's a good question. So when we you hear do not walk behind a horse.
Yeah.
When we're working on them, we have to walk behind them. Sometimes I have to take their temperature. So the right way of taking a temperature and checking things would be to stand parallel. We lift the tail like this, and in goes the thermometer. So, and we also have to check up under here. The ticks this time of year, ticks love to come and hide in these areas. So we can walk behind the horse because she feels me. She knows I'm working on her. She is not going to do anything, okay?
I just saw a fly coming in.
Did you? So the closer you stand is actually better. You know, people that get intimidated and they're like, I don't know, like this. If a horse is ugly and they want to kick you, you know, come here, wake up. If they want to kick, they can lift that leg up really high. So if they take that leg and extend out and get full extension, it's going to hurt a lot more. If I'm standing here and one goes to kick me, I can sort of grab the leg. I mean, like we will grab it and pop them. I'll pop them harder. They'll get popped if they try to kick me. And people are like, oh my goodness, you popped them. That is a very disrespectful thing. So if you let a horse get away with kicking at you, or even swatting the tail, like I said, if she started swatting her tail and there was no fly, and she's just being a brat because she doesn't want to be touched, she's going to get in trouble. But I tell everybody, these horses, they're out in the field with other horses, 1,000-pound animals. When they get irritated with each other, they bite, they kick. So us popping them to discipline them is not hurting. For them, a pop is like mom saying, hey, you need to stop.
Right.
That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
just an attention getter. We absolutely do not beat and abuse the horses. That's just like, but if you don't take charge, if you're not assertive, they will trample all over you. They will.
Right.
So you have to be careful. My horses are very good though. You don't have to worry about any of that.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're gonna come down the leg again and do sometimes she gets, oh good, no poop in there. Sometimes when she poops, it falls in there and comes out the bottom. The horse's belly button is right under here, and of course she's a girl, so her private areas are back here. So you would not want to brush real hard back in here. So, and another thing you see, I'm always on my toes. I'm not ever going to get on my knees because if your horse moves, you want to be able to move quickly with them. She's passing gas. Put that tail there. All right, so we're going to let you guys do the other side. So remember, when we walk around, we can do follow the leader. If you want to get right behind me, come over here, put your left hand on her. So this one, this hand.
Yeah,
Come right here. Put this one down. And we're just going to walk behind her. Just stay close to her. Stay close. She's not.
Other hand.
Okay.
The other hand.
Stay close, and we go all the way to the top, where her head is, to let her know we're here, and we're going to start working on this side. Flip that mane over. All righty, here we go. Hurry come. Hurry come, and we're going to use, do you want this smaller one or do you want the bigger one? Your hand might not work well in that one, but you can try it. This one did not get all the hair out from yesterday. Here you go.
Can we start brushing?
Right in there. And I always say put it on your strongest hand, okay?
Okay.
So, whoever, we want to start up high. So you want to start up here as high as you can and go in a circular motion. You can, here, reach as high as you can. There you go. I already got some dust down there. And if you want, you can divide in different sections. So if somebody wants to do the back section, like you're pretty tall, feel up here with this hand. So my hand, you feel all that dirt? So my hand that is free, I'm feeling, so if it's crusty, I rub a little bit harder, okay? So reach as high as you can, circle, feel that? And then work your way back. Ooh, I see the dust coming up. There you go. Good job.
Thank
Doing
you.
pretty girl.
This horse
That's
feels
nice.
soft. This is nice. Thank you for explaining.
Oh, you are certainly welcome. You sure are, sweetie.
Thank you.
Very, very good manners.
Thank you.
All of you have good manners. Mom and Dad are doing well with you.
Yes,
That's
they
right.
are.
That's right.
Love it. All right, don't forget you want to come all the way down this leg, all the way down. Oh, see that dirt? Rub in there really good so you can get some of that off. And then I'll lift up here. Good job. Excellent job. Let me see. What about that girth area under here? Feel and see if y'all feel any rough spots. If you feel any rust, all the way under that belly.
Right
Reaches.
here?
Yep, keep going. Go further. Does it feel soft or does it feel dirty?
I'm better dirty.
Okay, take your furry comb under there and rub it off.
This is the first time. This is the closest I've ever been to a horse.
It is.
You too?
It is.
Yeah.
All of us. All of us.
And they look big. I mean, of course they look big when you're driving past them.
Right.
But goodness, girl, when you up on close on, you're like, wait a minute.
And like I said, she's small too. She's the same size as Ruby. I've always liked the smaller horses because I just like to pleasure trail ride. I'm not showing, I'm not jumping. So obviously if you do that kind of stuff, you need a bigger horse, especially for jumping.
Yes, ma'am.
Which those are more, dressage horses and hunter jumpers. So those are usually your thoroughbreds that are like 16, and then the warm bloods, 17 hands. So I mean, like they're way up here.
Yes, ma'am.
The rest are stuff under the
Let's
bed.
see. She feels great. All right, remember your rule. Actually, let me make sure I put these right in the
I
right
think I
boxes.
know.
Which one do you have?
I have this one.
That one. I think that one might be. Is that?
I have it
My daughter will fuss at me if. What's that say? That says Rubia. So these are Rubias. She'll be like, Mom, where'd you put my brushes? What is that? Let's put this over. Okay, so now we're walking to the other side. So we would have our right hand on her. So right hand, walk around. Stay close.
Right hand, Kay. Like that. Stand close. You gotta follow directions, Kay.
Yeah. Okay. So the next two brushes are super duper fast, okay?
Okay.
So these are my soft hard brush or body brush and then soft brush finishing brush. So everything that we just curried up, we're gonna brush off. Yeah, you can feel the difference. Feel the difference in them. Touch
top.
the bristles.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's soft.
Now feel that.
Just like a hairbrush. Soft.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the one we use second. So I'm gonna watch out because I don't want dust to fly in your eyes and the fan's going.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be worse once we get up there. So it's the same thing, top to bottom, work in your 3 sections, brush everything down to the ground. You're always gonna brush the way the hairs grow. You don't ever go backwards with it. You never go in a circle. We're just brushing everything down to the ground. Okay, we come down the leg, do a little bit on her chest. Then when I get to the middle section, remember top to bottom, just like this. And you see, I'm putting pressure behind it. I'm not doing this gentle. We want to get that dust and dirt off. Flip it under. Then my last section.
Did you say how much she weighed?
She weighs about 900 pounds.
Whew.
So,
Phew.
I say 9. She
That's
floats
so cool.
between 9 and
That is so
950.
big.
She
That
probably
is so
weighs
big.
closer to 950 now because when that grass comes in, they put on
Yeah.
weight.
Okay.
So, and what the vets will tell you is a horse should carry no more than 20% of their body weight.
Okay.
So a 1,000-pound horse should only be carrying 200 pounds max.
Okay.
So her weight limit is capped at 180. And that's supposed to be person and their tack and saddle, because you know saddles weigh.
Yeah.
Right.
Saddles are pretty hefty too. So after I do my hard brush, I just follow behind with my soft brush.
You happy?
This is supposed to get off all the loose hairs and that last layer of dust, and it's supposed to shine them up. So we're gonna finish this side and let you guys do the other side. I'm coming down her rump. You see all that coming off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And down the leg. So you see how much better this feels up here now.
Oh,
And it's extra shiny too.
And extra shiny.
Yes.
it feels good.
All right, we're gonna take
Oh, yeah. Feel
this.
my daddy, feel my dad.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it's
It does.
definitely extra. It's definitely smooth.
Okay, so let's
It feels
do
good
It
doing
does.
it.
Ew. It feels like for the smooth.
Yeah.
Yo, you ready to ride your horse? Not right now, we're not riding it.
All right, there are my soft over
We're
there.
not riding it, we're about to clean it, right, Dad?
All right, now back on the other
and
side,
then
so
How,
y'all
how you
can
gonna follow
follow.
behind her?
Right. Follow
Or
me.
you can swing wide. You can always, when I say swing wide, if you don't feel like staying close and walk around her, you can swing wide. You just want to be out of kicking distance.
Okay.
Like I said, she is not going to do a thing, but I want you to know the right way to behave around a horse.
How much food and water do they have to take a day?
You know, right, and trying to get your hand in there if it'll go. That you feel.
There you go.
And you can, if you want, I don't know if it's easier for you to hold it like this or to put your hand in. Whatever's easier.
Okay. Watch out.
Thank you. So do they have to eat a lot a day?
My horses are what's considered easy keepers. So this time of year, since we have grass, they basically just eat grass. In the wintertime, we do have to supplement with hay. Mine do not need the extra grains. They are
It's
on
not
a
a
grain
dirt
that's called a
coming off.
balancer pellet, so it supplies them with vitamins, minerals that they could need.
It's a lot of dirt coming off.
Yeah,
Okay.
but mine only get 1 cup a day.
Okay.
1 cup. Now, the big horses out here
Uh-huh.
on the field, those aren't mine, those are boarders' horses.
Okay.
Thoroughbreds are very
And they
high
ride
maintenance
on dirt
horses. Those are
bucket.
the race horses that you see running the derby and
Right.
those. So that horse eats a ton. You know, so, and now, you know, when I first got into horses almost 30 years ago,
Goodness gracious, 30 years
was
ago.
$2.25 a bale. Now people are getting $10 and $11 a bale. So it is great, and you need at least 70 bales to get through the winter. For this
For-
side,
for
for a
yours.
smaller horse, yeah.
Man, so imagine how much they have to use
Like
for
the
the bigger
draft
ones.
horses,
Not listening to you.
yeah. So, and they also get their grass intake limited. So, like when they go out, they'll put these grazing muzzles on. They can still eat, they just can't get as much. So, if I didn't do this, the sugars would affect them, and then they could end up getting laminitis and founder. So, Cookie had that on too. That's why we knew something was wrong, because she was not even out on the grass, but 2 hours a day with a muzzle. Then she got pulled off, and she was put in almost a dry lot. So we knew for her to have her body to have a reaction, she had a disease, because there's no way she should have found it. So, oh, y'all ready for your next brush?
Yeah.
Okay, soft brushes.
Come this way, Jane.
All right, ready.
Here you go. Soft. Soft. And
You said thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And here's another.
Thank
Here's
you.
another soft one.
Thank you.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
this is really soft.
Stick this. Let's see. This one is Rouge.
Come back this way. I'm staying directly behind it. Come back that way. There you go.
And then when you guys think you finished that, you can come back over to this side.
Oh, that is nice.
So I do not brush their manes and tails every day. It pulls out so much hair when you do it.
Someone asked, do they eat apples?
They do. I don't give them to mine anymore because of the sugar content.
Because of the sugar content.
And if you do give them, you always want to cut it into pieces. Like they can choke just like we can. Even if you cut it into pieces, they can still have a choke episode.
Okay.
We'll have horses eat grain, and the grain gets lodged, you know, because those pellets expand.
Right.
I always wet my grain down so they don't choke on it as easily.
Okay.
Now a horse isn't going to choke to death and die. That's not the way they are, so they can't, you know, like a human, that's not going to happen to them.
Right.
But if they can't get that
Down.
object dislodged, what happens is they stress and they have like a stress colic.
Right.
So most of the time we can get it down if we just sort of massage their throat, it'll go through. If it doesn't, then you've got to have the vet come out and the vet tubes them. So she puts a tube into their nostrils and it goes down the esophagus, pushes fluids, and gets it dislodged that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, the vets come to you guys. You guys don't take your horses to the vet.
Yeah. I mean, we can't, if there's an emergency, if it's a big time emergency, like they can't do some surgeries here. You would have to go to a clinic for major stuff.
Okay. How many babies can a horse have? One?
At a time, they've had twins. I know one of my friends, her horse just had twins, but they don't typically, usually only one makes it, if that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but yes, twins definitely happen.
Oh, wow.
Let me see. Oh, that one goes in Rubia's box. The other two will come over here to Angel's. So back on
Come
this
on, Kay.
side, we have
The other
one
two.
more thing to check.
Thank you.
And let me find it. Where's my- Oh, but- where did I send her? I already sent it out. Oh, there it is. She's stretching.
Oh, wow. Look, you see
Now look at how tall she is.
Yeah. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
Yeah.
So you saw how high they can raise their heads
Yeah.
if they want. So we're going to get to the bridling portion. And you'll notice she just totally, her head's down here. But horses can be stubborn and raise those heads up and
Make
not
it
only
bigger.
lift it up, but then take it up like this because they don't want to be bridled. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Okay.
This is the last tool I use, and this is called a hoof pick. So we always check the horse's hooves. They can pick up rocks and, of course, mud and dirt. When we do this, I'm going to stand at the shoulder again. I take my hand and slide down so she knows what I'm asking for. And she lifts up. And then when you hold it, you always want to take this hand and you want to hold up. This is called the outer hoof wall here. You don't want to do this because, see, your horse automatically wants to put the hoof back down because they think, okay, you don't want it up, or they don't feel support. Okay, so always hold it here. I'm going to take my pick and I'm coming to the back of the structure called a frog, and I push down hard and pull. Then I come to this side, push down hard and pull. This is where rocks like to get wedged.
You have to get the dirt all out of it.
Yes, and like I said, if they've
That
got a
don't hurt them?
rock, no, this does not hurt. This is just like the hoof is a fingernail, basically. So the hoof is always growing. We have a farrier that comes out every 6 weeks to trim. If they need shoes, he'll put shoes on. So this triangle shape is called the frog. You never want to dig in the frog. It is softer. I can lightly scrape right here because I'll usually get a little indentation right here. Lightly scrape, but you never dig. Here we can come pretty hard because this is all rock solid, okay? This is the sole. The flat part is the sole. So you have the sole of your foot. This is your horse's sole. Your heel. Here's your horse's heel. This is called a heel bulge. So these are soft also. Okay, so those are the structures of the hoof. Now, the backs don't typically have as much dirt in them. So when I get to the back, I take my hand and I'm gonna slide down the inside, come down, and I'm gonna lift right here. This bone is called the cannon bone. So I'm gonna lift right here. I like to let them stretch forward, and then I'll pull them back, just like that. So, this is not very dirty. Put your tail down. They pass gas too when you lift up their back legs. Anybody want to try? I'll help you.
I will.
We'll let you do the front on the next side. Okay, come a little closer. Stand up. There we go. So come up here, push down and pull. Really hard. Push down really hard and pull. There you go. Good. And then not in there, remember, not in there. Right here. One more time. Good. And then right here. And then you can turn it over and brush, start here and brush down. Very good. Good job. Now pass off to your brother. Now to the front. The fronts usually have more in them because that's where they carry most of their weight. Wake up. Yep. Oh, God. All right, so right here, push down and pull. Good. Now put it here, push down. Follow this angle, so it's going to go that way. So push down and pull really hard. One more time. Okay, and then start here, go to your white line. Right in here. And right in here. One more time right here. And then you can take your brush, start back here and brush down really hard. Good job.
Good job, man.
Good job.
All right, last one.
Wanna try?
Yeah.
Put it right here. I got
My
it.
own.
Oh, we got it. We got it.
Come here, girl. We're gonna let her stretch, and then come back. All righty. This one isn't too dirty either. You still want to stretch, don't you? Okay. Come over here, sweet pea. Let's come right here. And we'll help guide you. Bend your knees. Bend at your. There you go. Push down and pull.
And she's
down.
feeling, she's cleaning
pull.
it right there, okay?
Okay.
Okay, then you can flip it. Let me flip it for you. And take your brush and brush. So right here.
That's the bottom of her foot.
There you go. And then we're going to come down here. There you go. Perfect. That's it. So she had no rocks and no dirt.
Good job.
All right,
Pretty
we'll
good.
take that. Thank you.
I
Thank
saw that
you.
first one over there.
Yeah.
What's that?
It had a lot of dirt.
Yep, it had more than the others. And that's all usually what happens. So, before we put the saddle on,
Yes,
I
guys, they
usually
do,
scoop up the dirt
sometimes
so
switch
they don't
things.
move and step right back in it.
Look at those chickens out there.
What's that?
I said, look at those chickens out
Yeah, we'll go see all that. We're going to get our riding in first, and then I'll show you a couple other things, okay? We want to try, make sure we can try to get the riding in outside, because it's a lot more fun.
Come back,
outside.
Katie. You can't run
Okay,
behind
so
it. You can't run behind it,
now
okay?
I want you guys to follow me to the tack room. We're going to find some helmets that will fit.
So you can ride. I'm gonna go on the other page and let them ride. Alright, y'all. Go on Armai's page so y'all can watch them ride. Okay?